I'm shocked they're still here. They must not have seen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Time is now 6 o'clock. It's time for our special city council meeting for the city of Oak Hill, August 27th, 2026. We will begin with our invocation, Councilperson Diana Janey, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to get together this evening. Lead, guide, and direct us, Lord, as we're trying to find a city manager going forward. Keep us, all of us in our daily walk with you, Lord. In his name, amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Like all.
Now call to order this special city council meeting for the city of Oak Hill. Our clerk will call the roll, please.
Come on.
Howard Walker.
Yep. Present.
Mayor Charles Briscoe,
Here.
Bill Hannibas,
Here.
Diane Janey,
here.
Roger Evans,
Here.
Terry Van Buskirk,
Here.
Tim Buskus.
Here.
PJ Elder.
Here.
Chris Gill.
Here.
All right. Thank you very much. If you please, the council, we will move our citizens' comments down to the transient lodging fee, fire service fee in the unfinished business section. Since Mr. Paul Witt will be speaking, give him a little more time than that, 3 minutes. He's here by himself. So we will move now to unfinished business, which will be item number 1, transient lodging fire service fee ordinance. This is the first reading.
Okay, you will notice, first of all, that the nomenclature of this ordinance has been modified slightly to transient lodging fire service fee rather than hotel fire service fee. And that more appropriately captures what you all intended long-term for all transient lodging. You indicated initially that you wanted to do hotels only for now, and then at a later point in time, move into other forms of transient lodging, campgrounds, cabins, etc. And so this better represents what that will be long-term, and then in the future, when that does decide, when council decides to go ahead and include those other forms of transient lodging, we don't have to deal with a inaccurate title for this one. So anyway, so aside from that, and I've gone through this with Mr. File, he's reviewed this, we've been back and forth on a few things based on your all's guidance from the last meeting. We drafted the ordinance and I sent that to you all for review. So I mean, at this point, happy to answer any questions, have a discussion about it. I know we've got Mr. Witt here that wanted to speak on that, representing the hotels here in the area. So at your pleasure, if you all would want to hear from him, there's that option.
Hey, Mayor, I asked that Mr. Witt be able to go ahead and speak.
That's fine. You want to come up to the floor?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'd like to say welcome to our county commissioner, Chuck Miller.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Paul Witt, and I am a general manager for the Holiday Lodge and the Comfort Inn ownership located here in Oak Hill. I am here today to respectfully oppose the proposed fire fee ordinance in its current form. First, I want to make one thing very clear. We understand the need to adequately fund our fire protection. And we support our firefighters, not only in the city of Oak Hill, but throughout the county, throughout 2 counties that we own properties in. And we recognize the essential services that they offer. We recognize the need for those services. If this is going to be a lodging related fire fee, and I understand now that since I've looked into this a little bit, you've changed the title, but I still believe it's still related to a lodging related fire fee, then it should be applied to all lodging providers, hotels, motels, cabins, short-term rentals, Airbnbs, VRBOs, and every other business providing overnight accommodations within the city of Oak Hill. It's simply not fair or equitable to single out 2 hotels, particularly 2 hotels owned by the same ownership because they are the easiest businesses to identify quickly and collect from, while indicating that we're going to pick up the other lodging at a different time or a later date. It is our opinion that it should be all or none. Our hospitality business is already experiencing approximately a 20% decrease or decline in our business. At the same time, we have made a major investment in the city of Oak Hill by taking the struggling hotel property and renovating it, rehabilitating it, and turning it into a business that will ultimately generate significantly more B&O taxes for this city than it ever has. But we need an opportunity to get that investment established and get our business on solid financial footing. We haven't even been open 90 days and we've been closed for almost 3 years. We're already facing expenses that were not anticipated when we made this initial investment into the properties. We're looking at potential increases in water and sewer costs. We're also dealing with a sewer lift station that the city intends to assume ownership, and yet we may be expected or asked to contribute either half or 1/3, up to 1/2 or 1/3 of an estimated $25,000 to $35,000 in upgrades before that transfer could go over to the city of Oak Hill as per the state code. That's an issue that we did not create. That's an issue that we did not expect. Now, on top of those expenses, we're being asked to absorb a new fire fee. And again, it's not the fire fee that we oppose. This is all about the cost. This is all about the timing of the cost. At a potential estimated charge of $4 occupied per night per room from September 2026 is my understanding, was where the council may have wanted this to start. And I may be wrong on that, but through July of 2027, that in theory could cost our hotels a maximum, and I do say in theory, could cost our hotels a maximum of $64,000 a year. That's not an insignificant amount, not to us. And if not applied to all lodging providers, that may very well drive our guests somewhere else in the hands or right into the beds, if you will, of untaxed lodging providers in this city or even out of this county. It's also, and I apologize, there's a good chance it could just drive them completely on down the road, and nobody wins in that situation. For a business still recovering from substantial investment in the city of Oak Hill, the amounts invested in renovation, rehabilitation, additional costs like these affect decisions about our future investments in the city of Oak Hill. They could postpone or even end our plans for additional soon to come exterior improvements and the development of a higher end restaurant and bar, investments that would create an additional 50 jobs on top of what we already anticipate bringing into Oak Hill. We are also operating in an environment of higher labor costs, materials, equipment, supply costs, along with the effects of tariffs and inflation. We're not asking to avoid our fair share. We're just asking the Oak Hill City Council to slow this process down, develop a fair, comprehensive ordinance that treats every lodging provider equally from day one. Do not place the burden on 2 hotels with the promise that everyone else may be included tomorrow. This is necessary. Establish it fairly, uniformly, and transparently. Our hope is that we would start it in July of 27 and then cap it after 3 years at $5. Please remember us as the business partner we are to the city of Oak Hill. That's who we want to be. We want to be great neighbors. And I think I've worked very hard personally, and my staff and my ownership has worked very hard to develop a great relationship in the city of Oak Hill. We could have gone anywhere else, but we came here, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but the people of Oak Hill and the city of Oak Hill was a major reason for that. Give businesses that are investing in the city of Oak Hill an opportunity to succeed, grow, create jobs, and generate tax revenue that this city needs. With that, I'll close. I thank you for your time, and I'm here if you have any questions or you need to elaborate on anything at all.
Thank you, Mr. Witt. Council, any questions for Mr. Witt?
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
I will just, I do want to clarify, and I think Mr. Witt understands this, and I did want to clarify for everyone involved or anyone watching that, this fee is a pass-through fee.
It's
It's
not.
not a fee that is absorbed by the hotel or, should it include other lodging forms? It's not absorbed by the Airbnb, it's not absorbed by the campground or the cabin.
It's not
And-
gonna cost the
Correct.
hotel any additional money.
Well, correct. Mr. Witt brings up the point about potential lost revenue because of prices having to be higher to account for this fee, and I understand that. But I did just want to clarify for everyone's benefit that this is passed through, very similar to, for example, hotel motel tax.
It's a flow through account.
That is levied on the occupant and it's not levied on the actual establishment itself. So I just want to make sure that was clear.
May I respond?
Yes.
You're absolutely right. It is in fact that. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
If anybody's watching, they can pick you up.
You are absolutely right. It is a pass-through tax and we absolutely understand that. And we acknowledge that. But what I hope you guys understand is I have stood in these hotels for the last 9 years between Summersville and Oak Hill. And every day, and this is not an exaggeration, every day, it matters not which of our 5 hotels that I stand in the mornings. I always try to acknowledge, greet, talk to our guests and figure out who they are, why they're coming, how long they're staying and all that. But every day I run into the guests that pull under our porticos. They have their phone out and they run in and they say, "Do you have any rooms available?" "Yes, we do." "How much?" "Oh, wow, 150. I can drive another 45 minutes to Beckley. I'll be 45 minutes closer to my destination and I can get a room for 149. Everybody is pinching pennies. Everybody is looking for a value. And I'm not here to fight this thing. It's just a timing issue. We are in a great position, but what I'm afraid of for the city is at the end of the day or the end of the year or the end of the 3 years, you guys could end up potentially with less money than you have now, even though you've put these fees in and you've increased them simply because we're coming off as not welcoming. We're coming off, even though we're pushing it, and you're right, but who are the people we want to lure here, to stay here? We're just at a critical point where our average night stays are going from 1 night to 2 nights. But I want to share something with you. 3 weeks ago, on a Saturday morning here at the Holiday Lodge, I was looking at our reservations and I looked down the number of days they're staying. And they're staying out of 20, maybe we had 3 for 1 night, 3 for 2 nights. We had 2 for 4 nights, 3 for 5 nights, and 2 for 7 nights. That's what we want. That's what we all want. Listen, this is not about the hotels. The hotels are the easiest way to pass this through onto the tourists, onto the people that are creating the need for this. And we get that. But we're at a very critical point where we do not want to bump them on down the road. It's very easy to stay on Harper Road and go rafting at Ace. I mean, it's very easy. People stay in Charleston all the time and go rafting at Ace or go hiking in the gorge and then they leave. They do not spend their additional funds at Walmart or at Sheetz or at the dress shop or the diners that we want. We don't want to push these things. We're in a very critical place. And this does, you say we pass it through and you're correct, but it does impact our business. If we lose business, you guys lose funds, we lose funds. Nobody wins.
So the other municipalities that all the other hotels are located in either have or are in the process of passing this same.
We have 5 hotels,
Or-
right? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We have 6 hotels, 5 of which are on the north or the south end of the New River Gorge. 3 are located in Summersville, 2 are located here. We own both in the Summersville area, or I'm sorry, both here in the city. And the city of Summersville is also talking about adding this fire fee or whatever you want to call it to. And again, we don't oppose it. I mean, I've talked at length with the fire chief here. I've talked at length with the fire chief in Summersville. in no way are we trying to fight this. Look, we need our fire services. We need our emergency services. That's not what this is about. This is about recognizing where we are and we're at a critical spot. Folks, we have waited. My father was in politics for years in this county and in Fayetteville. And one of the things that I promised I would never do was to tarnish his reputation. This is the right way to do it. Do it with everybody on board at one time to do it the correct way, to pass it through, like you say, but we cannot penalize ourselves. Fayette County has been waiting for 50 years to have the opportunities that we have right now. What are we going to do about it? Council can't fix that. I can't fix that, but together we can do it. And I see no reason why we should try to move people on down the road. 5 miles is 5 miles. Or maybe it's into an Airbnb holder or a VRB holder that's untaxed. That cuts into our pockets too. We can't provide the level of service to our guests that we're trying to do. And most of you have been in our hotel. You've the one here. You've seen what we've done. You knew what it was. You knew the reputation it had. I'm sure you've all been on Google and read all the remarks. We're changing that. And that's what we want. We're not hotel flippers. I'm a Fayette County boy. I was born and bred right here. I left and I'm coming home. I've been home since 2001 and I'm not going anywhere until the day I go away. But this is our time. This is our time to do the right thing, to do it and to benefit everybody, each municipality and the county.
So I will say, in terms of timing, the way in its current form, the form that's been presented, based upon what you all had, given guidance at the last meeting. Currently, the establishment of the fee is set to begin October the 1st, 2026. I just want to go through what's in here to clarify, what you currently have in front of you now, based on your guidance. Beginning October 1st, 2026, through June the 30th, 2027, that fee would be $3. Beginning July 1st of next year, 2027, it would bump to $4.50 and run through June 30th of 2028. And then beginning July 1st, 2028, it would become $6 and continue at $6 from now. So that's the way it's currently written. Mr. Witt has mentioned postponing implementation until July 1st of 2027. And he's also asking for a $5 cap where it would currently cap at $6. So just to kind of touch base on all those points. Also currently it does not include Airbnbs as far as the way that the definition is written, Airbnbs or any other forms of lodging other than hotels, motels. That's all that's included right now. So I will say, if you want to make changes to this or modify it in any way, based on conversation with Mr. File, we would not be able to do a first reading tonight. Which, depending on if you decided to change the dates, for example, to a later date, we're not going to be pressed for any time to do so. So it would then be brought forth at the next regular council meeting with any potential changes you all would want to make to that. So
I'll say something. So I think I would definitely like to see it all done at one time. With where we have the hotel fees, the Airbnb, cabins, all the other terms with that. I think that's what Fayetteville just did. I think that's what all municipalities have done. I think that makes sense to make it fair. We had said $3 to start out.
yes,
Is that what we said? And then $4.50 and then $6.
$6.
I don't know if I would fight that too much. I mean, are we saying like every year, just once a year, changing that to the next rate?
Right, it would be implemented in a 3-tier system just to step it in to ultimately get to $6 from then on. Every per room per night would be a $6 fee once it gets fully implemented. So just a 3-tier system to kind of slowly work it in.
Can I ask a question? I thought when we first started this, and I knew that we was gonna do it in, 3 steps, but I thought we wasn't going no higher than $5 when we first started this until the last meeting,
Mhm.
Bill brought up 6.
Well, I think that came from, you know, we've modeled this after Bridgeport has this implemented, and that was one that, well, one of the only ones, the examples we found at the time. Of course, we knew Fayetteville was working through theirs, but they didn't have theirs drafted yet. Still don't have it I think it's in a semifinal form, but there's not.
That's what I was gonna say, Fayetteville hasn't done it.
They've not done it yet. They brought it to council. I think
In their
it,
first reading.
Yeah, they did the first reading, yeah.
Last week.
okay, I would say that was maybe last week. I knew up to that point, the last time they brought it forward, some changes were requested, so then that first reading got delayed.
They had tabled it so they could include everything,
Right.
cabins, everything all together.
And so I will say this, if you all are going to consider including everything, I would ask that we do extend the time period for which this is implemented, because that is an increased administrative load for us to work through as we have to, you know, notify the other transient lodging, you know, one of which would be Ace Adventure Resort. I mean, I think that I'm not sure if they're aware that this is even being discussed at this point. And that's another significant hospitality provider in our area. So this is going to be a big impact to their operations in terms of getting that set up for all of their sites. But larger for us with administrative is going to be the short-term rentals. There's not currently a tracking mechanism for those. So for us to be able to find out who those are, notify them that this is happening and what the new requirement is, and then following that, the enforcement. And we don't have a mechanism to track those down. There's nothing in place. Hotel motel tax comes through from Airbnb and VRBO now, what they call the marketplace facilitator. And so they don't give us a breakdown of who they're collecting that from. It's one lump sum, and they're not required by the state code to break it down, so they don't. And the only real tracking mechanism we have would be our business licensing B&O. And that's the ones who have actually registered. So it doesn't count the ones who may not be licensed. They may start it up and never contact us. And we don't actively pursue those unless we find out about them. Obviously, if we find out about one, we certainly contact them and let them know if they've not acquired the proper licensing. But aside from that, we don't have a mechanism. So there's going to be a bit of an administrative burden for us to figure out how to get that implemented, tracked, and then of course there's the enforcement side of it built into it as well, trying to enforce that upon the ones who are not doing it. So I would ask, if we do include all those, you give us in the administration a little bit of time to get this figured out, get the administrative process going. There is a form. These are things that you run into after we, you know, as you start thinking about this. How do we implement it? There is a form that we have to create. We don't currently have a form for this. So we got to create a form that's going to take care of all the requirements of this, make sure that that's out and distributed, you know, website, whatever, and then figure out administratively when this money comes in, who processes it, where does it go, which account does it go into, and all the things. And we can do all that, but it is going to take time. And the more we include, the more we've got to try to reach out to these people. So it is going to take, it's going to take some time on that.
Well, when the subject first came up, when we first started talking about it some months back, I made the comment. I think it's inherently unfair for one type of lodging to have the fee implemented and not to include Airbnbs and other types of lodging. However, I think it's going to greatly prolong the process if we don't start somewhere. I'm in favor of moving forward. I know we talked about last month that we would move forward with Airbnbs and campgrounds and all the different alternative lodging. But we have to start. And I know, you know, Mr. Witch, you talked about Harper Road and Summersville and some of those areas. This man back here, the fire chief, is in the hot seat for emergency services. They don't have necessarily the encumbrance of the emergency service that are added to us by a national park. I know they're getting close, but we're in the middle of it. We're right beside it. I can walk to the national park. And I don't think our chief of the fire department would be an advocate for this if there weren't increased calls. We have trails that are being added to all the time that, you know, that create more calls. There's more accidents, there's more calls for service, and I hate it. I don't like taxes. I despise taxes as much as anybody. But when there is a cost, somebody has to pay for it. And I don't like that, but it's the truth. Somebody has to pay for it.
So I'd like to make a comment that it's kind of echoing what Bill said. I agree that I think it should be everyone. I'm in favor of going ahead and letting this be in the first reading tonight and going ahead and starting, like Bill said, start somewhere. All the other municipalities are doing it. The fire service has an extreme load on it right now. And it's a weekly, it's every week. On the weekend, you can pretty much just about count on you're going somewhere in the national park, rescuing someone that has fell off a cliff in the water, something. And that cost is being incurred by the citizens of our county through the levy. We're paying for that expense, for all that to happen. The citizens here are paying for that expense while the tourists come in and pay nothing for it. And this being a pass-through cost is a way for us as a city that we're looking for ways of creating revenue to offset of our expenses now. This is a way for that.
But we need to include everyone.
We do, but and we gotta get that list. I see where Mr. Bragg says we have to compile a list of the Airbnbs and let everyone know. I'm in favor of starting this. In fact, I'm in favor of it. I'm just gonna go ahead and motion that we accept number one so that we have to take a vote on it. That we accept item number one as the first reading for transit lodging fire service fee ordinance is the first reading tonight.
But
So if
does,
you take a vote on this, I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, we had a discussion. I just wanted to get
I
a
just
motion
want to
out
kind
there.
of give a comment to what you just said, that, you know, it has been more stress on the fire department to where you've had to go to the New River, you've had rescues and everything else. But to impose that fee just on the hotel, I don't agree with that. I think that if we're gonna do this, it needs to be done with everything across the board, or don't do it at all.
I think we do need to include everyone across the board. I don't think it needs to be June of next year. I think that's something we need. I understand you need time to work on, but that's something that we need to actively work on, I think.
I will
What
not be
Mr.
in
Hannibal
favor
said,
of
we
this.
start somewhere. We start now with this, and then that's my opinion.
And I understand, and I agree.
And then bring him in as soon as we can.
And if we can't,
but we know
if we
ACE
can't
is
do it
in
all,
there.
Yeah,
then we don't need to do any of it until we
I
can.
understand what we need to do. We need to get this going. But then here we are in a month or two, we require another one or two more readings to make it. So we continue to kick the can down the road to finally get everybody involved. It should be, everybody's involved from the start because it should be fair. It should be fair. It's a fair process. They have cabins. They're doing the same thing that his hotel's doing. You're spending the night there. There's no difference. You're spending the night at the cabin. So you cannot impose a fee on those hotels and expect that to be fair. So, Mayor, there's a motion and a second. I request a roll call vote.
All right. Go ahead, sir.
May I say
Go ahead,
one
go
thing?
ahead.
I promise this will be the last time. First of all, I'd just like to make a comment. We're not Clarksburg.
If you're gonna compare it to anybody, you're gonna work with anybody, you're gonna collaborate with anybody, it should be the town of Fayetteville. They're different, but they're still the same. They understand the demographics. They understand the draw that's on our emergency services. So I'd just like to make that point. The other point I would like to make is that it's very easy to pull the list of Airbnbs. I can print it for you. In 15 minutes, I can be back here and provide that to the city, so you guys can include that if you would like. So that doesn't take, I'm not taking anything away from you, Tyler. There's a lot of work to be done in here. Absolutely. And
I would like to know where you can get that list in 15
it's the
minutes.
same place the tourists get it. They're booking them. How do they find them?
Well, when you start trying to find it, there's a lot more to it than that.
Well, I get that, and I'm not trying to.
We've done it. We've tried to find them and.
I understand. The other thing I do want to address is the same thing that Nicholas County is encountering right now. There's still a segment out there that isn't registered. That they're not paying their taxes. They're not paying their B&O taxes. They're not paying anything, but they're renting and they're filling their houses up with guests coming in from out of town. And they're trying to figure out a way. So here's my suggestion. I have not suggested this to Nicholas County formally, but I'm going to, and I will suggest it to you guys. We have a county commissioner sitting right here. The county has an obligation as well, in my opinion. So why don't we work with the assessor? Why don't we work with the health department? And let's find out who these people are. It's not 100% foolproof, but it will help us. They will help us identify other people. I just heard from the fire chief, even the fire departments. I just heard from the fire chief in Summersville yesterday that they've been on perhaps 5 calls this summer that he's aware of, that they came in to an unlicensed Airbnb or rental unit, and voila, there you have it. So we're not going to get everybody at the final reading. And the last thing I would like to say is, I threw out July 2027. That would be amazing. That would give our company, because we're the only 2 hotels in town. And that's the only people that you're looking to put this tax on right now. After everything I've shared with you guys, we're the only people you're looking to put this tax on. However, we're not unreasonable. Again, we want to be partners. We want to be great neighbors. If it's not June, then what is it? We just don't want October. My lands, we just got open. We haven't been open 90 days, folks. And we're trying to do our best for the city of Oak Hill. I'm in this office. It was just made the remark earlier that they hadn't seen me for a while, but I've been in and out of City Hall for the last 3 years, trying to pull permits, talk to people, coordinate, work with your people to try to do the right thing to provide something wonderful that this city, quite frankly, needs. We need it. We need the hotels, and when we need everything here that we're talking. But please, I'm asking you guys one last time. This has to be all or none, or it's not fair. And we may not like the repercussions of what we get into. Ask Gallenberg. Look where they're at now. They don't like where they are right now. We could lose control. This is just another aspect in a different environment, but one aspect that we can gain control and stay in control of our home. This is our responsibility to do this. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mayor, this council has talked numerous times about, I think we've all said that how many times has the Airbnbs and different things, it's been brought up. I can't think of the situations over the last couple of years. We've said, well, Airbnbs, they're not included in something. This group of Airbnbs, cabins, they're always left out of these groups of things. And again, we have a motion in a second. I understand that. But it is extremely unfair to try to impose something when it's the same kind of, you're staying the night at an Airbnb in a cabin. It is not fair to enforce that on a hotel only. That makes no sense.
I'm not gonna disagree with you. That it came out of my mouth first, PJ, that it's unfair.
Yes, sir.
If you'll remember, like some months ago. But I will say this is a temporary situation.
It doesn't need to be that. Because we can compile the list as we go. It would be the same way with the vacant building registry that we've still been fighting for 3 years now. Because we kept saying we're not aware of everything that's available. We get that as we go. As you find an Airbnb, you say, hey, you're now identified. You better be paying that nightly rate. It's gonna continue to be like that. If we continue to leave those reasons out because we don't have a full list of something, we're never gonna get
I
anything
don't
done.
wanna leave them out.
Right, I don't either. And from the start, Bill, I really, really believe from the start, there's no difference and we should not leave them out from day one.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's that. When you're talking about the difference in implementing the fee for hotels, motels, and the time that you will implement the fee for Airbnbs and campgrounds, that amount of time is insignificant.
Then I don't see the reason why we couldn't do it all at once if it's, because then we're looking at another 1 to 2 readings, correct? 2 more readings to modify that. At that point, when we change it, am I correct?
Yeah.
So then,
yeah,
when we change, let's
ordinance
say that this goes tonight and then our next one would be September. So then we bring that up in October. So then you have October, November. What would be the point of continuing to add to that time frame? And again, that might be 2 or 3 months and it may not be significant. But what would stop it from starting now, like all together? We keep saying we want to get it started. Let's get it started. Everybody pays. It's fair.
The
It should be equal.
administrative part of it
I
would
agree.
be a delight.
I agree. And we can work with that. I mean, it doesn't have to start October 1st. Maybe we could say January 1st.
Yeah, I mean.
And that would give
I think-
4 full
Yeah,
months.
I mean, I was gonna say that could be a middle ground compromise.
I
That
agree.
it could be if it was decided to add in the other forms of lodging. That does delay the first reading tonight, but that could potentially be prepared. Potentially for the September meeting, for a first reading September, another second reading in October. With implementation beginning January the 1st, as kind of, or it could be, it doesn't have, it could be February the 1st. As a middle ground, which would then leave a couple of months, I think that would be adequate for us to establish our administrative process. I do think, and I talked to Mr. Fowle about this, we do need to check the legalities. I know you've got Fayetteville that's moving forward with trying to implement on Airbnbs. There was a statute that was included in the home rule, within the last couple of years that specifically restricts some of the things that you can do for short-term rentals. And I think we need to just double check and get a legal clarification to make sure that that statute that was included does not prevent us from including those. I mean, we can include it and it can be challenged at some point, but,
I think during the last council, there was something that came up, I forget what it was about Airbnbs and they couldn't, it might have been parking or something, maybe you remember.
well,
And they couldn't implement it because of the home rule.
That statute is why we no longer are able to require them to get conditional use permits.
Okay.
Which is actually in our ordinance that says they should get a conditional use permit. We stopped doing that at that time. In fact, that's another ordinance that probably does need to be updated to reflect the requirements in the state code. We stopped doing conditional use permits because the state code, they passed that statute that said you can't.
So there is a
treat them
possibility that this couldn't be put on them anyway because of the home. There's a slim possibility.
I just
We
think,
need
I
to
think we
research
need
it.
to review it and make sure that what we attempt to implement is not in conflict with.
So
the
I
state
think we
code.
could implement this tonight or have the first reading tonight and then be looking into that. We might find that we can do it or that we.
But there's other
Yes, sir.
areas that we can identify now.
Absolutely.
Just thinking-
There's
Yeah,
cabins.
Airbnb's not the only.
Yeah, Airbnb's not it. And that's probably some of the
That's
lower
where it
end
is.
of it. We have hundreds of cabins.
You
We
know,
have lots of things.
Building them.
Absolutely, building them.
continuously.
Yeah, and I'll just offer that middle ground, January, February timeframe, you all could decide as a compromise. That would also give us time to reach out to ACE.
I like March 1st
Bring them up to
myself.
speed. I mean, there's options. Up to you all. I just wanted to throw that out there. That I think if it were a January, February timeframe, I think that would give us enough time administratively to get our processing.
Cause I think we've
Well, the-
given a lot of these
the-
businesses plenty of time and a lot of leniency. And we
Absolutely.
didn't even charge them for the first several years. So they've gotten breaks.
And I mean, you know, if this is something that we're gonna do we need to take a vote or we need to vote to table it? Since you need to do some
You know, that's
investigation.
my-
Well,
Do that since there's a motion.
There's a motion in a second, and then aside from that, I think we probably should, since there's some contention, whatever, I think if it's gonna be changed, I think we probably should gather a vote on that so that we can get an official documentation. And if there's gonna be a change, what that change is exactly. Does it change the fee? Does it change the implementation date? And does it change the, who it's being imposed upon as far as lodging facilities?
So Tyler, like in Clarksburg and Bridgeport where they've already did this
Mhm.
and they include all of it, apparently it's not anything that's been challenged there.
I would have to, I'm
'Cause it's
unclear, I
half of-
know Fayetteville is doing it, I don't know if the Bridgeport one, I'd have to study that definition, because it's all determined by the definition. Theirs is called a hotel fire service, actually, Bridgeport's is called an emergency services fee, it's a little bit different. I would need to double check their definition, and I mean, I can pull it up, but I don't know if theirs includes. I can pull it up if you want. I've got it available
Go
right
ahead,
here. We can
please.
look at it. Give me just a second, navigate here, and we can. Pull that. But to that end, as a comparison, Fayetteville is indeed imposing it on Airbnbs, per their definition for sure.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, you know, if Bill's just right up the road here, 9 miles away. Why are we gonna try to do something different than what they're trying to do? And I feel that to be fair, it needs to be across the board to everybody.
All right, let's see if we can find their definition here. So I think here, the definition of hotel in this is what dictates. So any facility, building or buildings publicly or privately owned, including a facility located in a state, county, or municipal park in which the public may, for consideration, obtain sleeping accommodations. The term shall include, but not be limited to, boarding houses, hotels, motels, inns, courts, lodges, cabins, and tourist homes. So I think probably the closest thing to short-term rental, they don't explicitly state it, but tourist home. But I don't think they define what a tourist home is.
It's an Airbnb.
Well, I think we have to draw that conclusion.
Right.
But it does say what it shall not be construed. It further goes on. It'll include state, county, and city parks offering accommodations. And it shall not be construed to mean any hotel, sanitarium, extended care facility, nursing home, or university or college housing unit providing fewer than 3 hotel rooms, nor any tent. So this does clarify, nor any tent, trailer, or campsites. So they are not imposing this on campsites. Now, going back to what it does include cabins. So when you're looking at a facility that would have cabins and a campground, in their scenario, no tents or campsites, but cabins are included. And then it talks about a university or college housing unit, which, you know, we don't have. In fact, I removed that section out of ours because we don't have that scenario. Nor do we have state, county, or municipal parks where there's sleeping accommodations. So we were able to modify that. But, so that's what they're doing. And I do believe, I could pull up, I think I've got Fayetteville's in here as well. Just a moment. See if we can check their definition. Okay, so their definition is a hotel shall mean any facility, building or buildings publicly or privately owned in which the public may, for consideration, obtain sleeping accommodations. Shall include, but not be limited to hotels, motels, inns, courts, lodges, cabins, tourist homes. They clarify this, meaning short-term rentals with the parentheses there. Boarding houses, tent, trailer, or camper campsites. So they've explicitly included tent or campsites in there.
Can't we do the same?
Well, I think we could define it however you all wish to define it.
Cause there's plenty of them out there.
I understand. I mean, it could be either way. Obviously, we see some variations here between those two. It's up to you all. If we want to change it and include, what do we include, what do we not include? It's entirely up to you all how you wanna drive this.
One other thing that's been mentioned a couple of times. Ace Outdoor Resort. City of Oak Hill does not collect hotel, motel occupancy tax. You know,
I thought we gave them so many years.
no,
Isn't that a state
hotel,
code?
motel occupancy tax. We don't.
Hotel motel from Ace, we do not collect.
We do not collect.
That is actually county only, because they were in the county before it was actually accessed
And I think-
into Oak Hill City.
That's in state code, was it not? I believe that
Right.
in the event of
Correct.
The
annexation.
county collects it, what they do with it, I have no
Yeah,
clue.
the county collects, we do
Oh.
not.
Do they do B and O tax?
I'm sorry,
B and O?
B&O tax we collect.
Yes.
And sales tax, we
So-
collect.
Would that affect, that would not affect them, because that's completely different. If we had a fire fee, we would be able to collect that from them.
Yes, as far as I know,
Yes.
I don't think that's in the same category.
Right, I wouldn't think so either. Okay.
And they're building mini cabins.
Yes.
And I haven't understood that either. I understand what they had fall under the county, but if you're adding new and you're having to get Oak Hill City building permits in order to build it, why are we not collecting on those? Those are new, they're not old.
You mean the hotel motel tax on
Yeah.
those?
It's, the state law's ambiguous. And that's a good point, what you're saying. It would be like if there was a hotel that was annexed, the hotel occupancy tax would continue to be collected from now on by the county government, even if they added another wing, another 100 rooms. Because the law's ambiguous about, I look at it in depth. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying that's the way it is.
Well, I knew that, we didn't get it from Ace because Brett was annexed after. I knew that goes straight to the county.
Yeah,
But we do collect B and O.
we do collect the B&O tax.
And sales, and with a fire fee, we'd be able to collect that too.
The comment was made earlier about the Airbnbs that are not listed and we don't know who they are. You really can't, I don't see how you can factor them in there anyway, because we don't know who they are. They're not operating legally. It's just, that's just the same as a contractor coming in here on the weekend and building somebody an addition on their house. They're not legal anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there is a mechanism that we don't have available to us currently, but I was approached by the county assessor within the last couple of months. They are looking into a software that's out there now that's, as many things are becoming AI driven. This is an AI driven software that was pitched to them that essentially looks within your jurisdiction and identifies based on, rather than somebody sitting on the computer looking at what bookings are available and trying to identify these rentals. It cycles through all the different platforms and starts to find that for their purpose. So the county is interested in in doing that for their purpose. They are reaching out to some of the municipalities to see if they want to partner up and basically do a cost share on that software. I don't recall the exact price. I think it was in the ballpark of $10,000 a year or something to that effect for the software. They were looking to potentially partner up with the municipalities. I think they've approached the health department because now the health department is supposed to inspect all these short-term rentals annually. And so that could potentially be an option that came about because pulling that list is not easy. It is not something that you can just go, you can pull up. I can go pull up right now, Airbnbs available in Oak Hill, but that doesn't include the ones that somebody's staying in right now. I mean, you know, if you put in your search criteria, you miss them, and I've physically done that, so I know. It's challenging. So maybe a solution would be, you know, this software, this AI software, and partnering with them for a minimal cost to not only help with this that we're trying to implement, but it also helps us with licensing, it helps us with P&O, and all the other components that we're missing. So, you know, that could be an option as we're considering implementing this and identifying the challenge with the Airbnbs. Maybe that's a more viable solution to help with it. So there are ways. I mean, we're not going to get them all. There's no, because they can list it today and take it off the platform tomorrow. That's, you know, it's very flexible. So you're not going to get them. And then the ones, you know, you're going to deal with ones that just aren't remitting that. Once you do know about them. So then it's going to be, you know, testing letters and going through the enforcement process to try to bring them into compliance. And we can do that. We just need to make sure we have our process set up to do so. So I mean, I'm happy to change whatever you all want. We do have a motion in a second, so we'll have to vote that. Aside from that, depending on the outcome of that, you know, if that doesn't pass and you all want to change something, I would like to have some kind of consensus on what it is that we're changing, or at least a majority vote on what it is that we're changing it to. It gets very complex, and I need to make sure that I know what the intent is to be able to write it in the ordinance.
Mr. Hannibal? Bill? Could you restate your motion?
No, it wasn't my motion, I second it.
It was my motion. My motion was
Okay,
to
good.
accept the number one, item number one, transient lodging fire service fee ordinance as the first reading tonight.
Bill second.
Bill did the second.
Seconded.
If it
Now we're
included
done.
every,
No, ma'am, just in hotels for tonight, cause to start, so we can get this started now. And then we can work on getting the list of the Airbnbs and everyone else, and then bring them in. You can have another reading whenever we get that list. That can be as early as soon as we can get that. That can be November, December, January, and then bring them and include, but to get this started, the process started now, tonight is the first reading. We still have to have another reading, so someone could change their mind between now and the next reading if they wanted. But we would have another reading after that, but my motion is to start with just the hotels. The first reading with just the hotels tonight, and then we'll work on getting that.
but we have so much sitting out there that we know of. That's why I feel like it needs to be all.
Absolutely.
I feel like it needs to be all too, but I wanna start tonight, but let's get this started with just with the first reading tonight. And then we'll work on getting that other information all compiled up to present that.
And I will say is, I don't know if I've said this, I may have already, but just to clarify, if there's any changes to this as presented, it cannot be read as a first reading tonight.
Right.
Well, I've already clarified that with Mr. Bob.
Yeah.
It would be a material change, and we couldn't have a first reading tonight.
Yeah, that's why my
Once y'all
motion
know
is,
that, we can't make a motion to
But it
accept
can be,
this with a change.
but it can be amended at any time after.
Yes, it can be amended at any point in time, correct. It does require two readings to pass an
To
ordinance,
amend it.
to amend it, correct.
so you could pass the first reading tonight. And then have an amendment at the second reading. or at the next reading.
No, you can.
You could not.
You would have to start over
You-
and have another first reading with
Okay.
the amended
Okay.
ordinance.
And there's also, just so that you all are aware, there's an advertising, a newspaper advertising requirement, per state code with any ordinance, whose primary objective is the raising of revenues for municipalities. So we do have to publish it in the paper. And then on the second reading, we have to have a public hearing, to allow a specific time for the public to comment on that. So just so you know, there's a few added steps because this is an ordinance primarily for the raising of revenue. So just be aware of that.
That if it passes tonight, then those steps have to be taken before you have second reading.
Yeah. Mr. Fowle, can you clarify something for me as well? If we amend it after the initial passage, do you feel like that would also be subject to the newspaper advertising requirements? And
So I
so,
think we start over.
okay,
I think if there's a material amendment, it's you're starting with the new ordinance.
So that-
The district application.
that's, I mean, it's not gonna extend the process. It's, the requirement for that is a class 1 legal ad. It's only a one time in the paper. So it doesn't extend the process. I just wanted you all to be aware of that requirement as well as the public hearing upon second reading
Well,
or immediately prior to the second.
that's not a big deal.
No, it's not.
All right. Well, we have a motion and a second to accept tonight's fire service fee ordinance as a first reading. Councilman Elder, are you still requesting a roll call vote?
Yes, sir.
We will begin. Councilman Van Busker,
No.
Councilman Evans. No. Councilwoman Janey,
No,
Councilman.
Yes.
Canavas, Councilman Gill,
Yes.
Councilman Elder,
No.
and Councilman.
No.
All right.
No.
So what do we, what's the?
5-2.
5-2.
Do that.
5-2, and that is a nay, so this item does not pass.
Can I entertain a new motion?
You may.
Okay, so I would make a motion that it would include cabins, all hotels, Airbnbs. The $3, the $4.50 and the $6, I think is what we had said before. And then this being effective January the 1st.
Did you say 6?
The $3, $4.50 and $6, and then this being effective January the 1st.
Can you clarify, Mr. Elder, is that also gonna include, campsites as well?
Yes.
I like the model Fayetteville had. If you read all that.
Did they have campsites?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then I would add that to my motion.
We have, well, instead of me trying to figure out what you just said, let's, may we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Wait a minute,
Oh, sorry.
why January?
That gives 4 months, that gives, because we had said that we needed time. Tyler had said that he needed a little bit of time.
But said you
Administration.
could get the list in 15 minutes.
Okay. I wasn't accounting for Mr. Witt. I was accounting based off of what Tyler said that they need time to create a form, and just be ready to do that. And that gives us some time. Administrative duties. So, and Tyler had requested that we had some time to do that. So I thought 4 months would be reasonable on that.
I think some of the discussions maybe in the past, I may be wrong on this, but I think some of them was wanting it to be October 1st, try to hit because of the mass influx of people that you're gonna get for Bridge Day.
Well, that would be doable at this point because this doesn't count tonight as the first.
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
Yeah,
It wouldn't even be feasible.
It would have captured it if we
It
got
would
the
have had to
hotels.
pass this first reading tonight, otherwise. It would only be feasible if we had a special meeting. The 3rd or 4th week of September. Where we would, and did the first reading at the regular council meeting in September, and then had a special council meeting. And then you have less than a week really before implementation.
And that'd be hard for them to try to understand and try to get in.
Started October 15th.
I think January myself.
But I did not want to amend my motion.
All right.
I think October 1st, again, based off of we're rushing to get there, but Tyler said that he needs time for administration reasons. So that's my thought is that I'm trying to, there's a little middle here maybe. I mean, he said July of next year, and then I'm 6 months ahead of that because I'm just thinking of what they need to do that gives them a little bit of time to try to make this right. It's just my
I'm
thought.
fine with it. It's just ironic that I was the first one that at one time I said I would not vote for this. I am not in favor of it unless you include Airbnbs and other forms of lodging. And now I'm vastly in the minority. So, but I'm fine with it. I mean,
Yes, sir.
I always wanted that included,
Absolutely.
but if we're gonna do it, we need to do it.
Yes, sir.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion is carried. Mr. Witt, did you have another comment?
I just wanted to say, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys all for your time and the effort that you put into this tonight. Second of all, I don't appreciate Mr. Anabas's sarcasm about my 15-minute comment. I was simply making a remark that as a consumer, I can identify Airbnbs very quickly. I was not trying to belittle the city of Oak Hill or Tyler at all. And I would also like to note that this is, I've not really been in attendance here at council meetings a lot, but I am aware that some of council does own Airbnbs, and it's kind of ironic to me that they don't want them included now, maybe perhaps in the beginning. So with that, I'll just close my statements and thank you guys again for the opportunity, and I appreciate everybody here.
Thank you, Mr.
Who
Witt.
owns an Airbnb? Is anybody here?
I'm not a council. But
I don't think anybody above it has this Airbnb or has it all the time.
Moving ahead to item number 2, our city manager hiring. This is an anticipated executive session. May we have a vote to move into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Second. We have a motion and a second to move into executive session. All in favor? All opposed? Motion's carried. We are now in executive session. Thank you all that came out. If you want to stay, that'd be fine. We'll be back in a bit. All right, folks, we are back. May we have a motion to exit our executive session and return to our regular session?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. We are now back in our regular session. Our executive session yielded no fruit tonight. No decisions were made, so we are moving forward to a special meeting on September 10th at 5:30 PM. That is a Thursday. Does anyone have any new business that they'd like to inform? All right. Don't forget, Oakley Festival is next week. May we have a motion to adjourn if all minds are clear?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.